Hey everyone, my name is Lafia and I'm the CEO and co-founder of ArishConnect.com. So today's topic is going to be about being an Iyawo. And of course, as usual, these videos are just about my opinion and they have no bearings on anyone else's personal choices but my own. And so I was asked why I went the traditional route even though I was raised Lukumi. And I really don't have anything to say outside of that I took a different route because that's where I was led. So that's where I felt more kinship. That was where I felt most akin to that path. And so that doesn't have anything to do with other people's sects of the religion and how they practice. It was just my personal choice, and that's where I found myself. And when it came to being an Iyawo, there are different periods of being an Iyawo depending on the sect that you practice. So if you are a traditionalist, depending on how many Orisha you're receiving, you're only an Iyawo for however long the ceremony is. So once you are done with your ceremony, you are not back to your regularly scheduled program, but essentially, for lack of a better phrase, if you are going through the Santeria faith or El Lukumi, you are an Iyawo for a year and 7 days, and that's a commitment because that also is the year in white. Traditionally, there is no year in white. It's definitely a development of the diaspora, and it's interesting, and I think that it takes a lot of courage and a lot of gumption to go through a year in white, particularly because it's an affirmation, and then it totally changes the way that you navigate in society, because you have white is so attractive. Like, just to see someone in all white, it's very it brings your attention. And so for anyone that does it, it's an incredible experience. My brother did his year in white, even though he was initiated in Nigeria, which is something else that you'll see. Like there is a trend for folks to go to Nigeria, receive their Orisha, and then come back to Lukumi and Santeria communities and do their year in white. That wasn't for me. I didn't do that. And I also am very much, regardless of these videos, I'm very much an introvert. And so when I was initiated, I had no intention of wanting to be accepted in other societies. I just wanted to solidify my relationship with the Orisha, and so that's where my head was. And then if you are someone who is practicing in Brazil, like Candomblé, for example, that Iyawo period is 7 years. 7 years. Like, that is some commitment right there. Not saying that there's no commitment on these other ones, but I'm just like, 7 years? The hierarchy system that I thought was very stringent in the Lukumi and Santeria traditions, woo! Candomblé folks got us beats. And so those are just some minor differences in the time of being an Iyawo. My advice to anyone who is seeking initiation, I think that you should ask yourself if it's something you can commit to. Now, if it's not a situation where it's divine that someone needs to be initiated to, save a life, or if there's something spiritually going on where it's like you need that kind of protection, I would tell folks to hold off, especially with children. If it's not divine that child that is absolutely necessary for that child, I would say to, let someone come to their own conclusions. I'm so thankful to my parents because both of my parents were converts from Christian faiths before I was born, and they instilled in me an opportunity to seek my truth. If it wasn't absolutely necessary for me to be initiated, they let me be. They let me grow. They let me explore. I went through an entire period of not practicing at all because I was having, some inner struggles, some spiritual struggles in my faith. Like I lost someone very dear to me, and then I was so angry with God. And so it took me a couple of years to study and figure out where I fit spiritually. And I ended up actually coming right back to where I started. And so give yourself some time. if you can. If you're allotted the time to explore, do that, because not everything is for everybody. The Orisha tradition is not for everybody, and I feel like if you're going to practice a religion, it should be one that makes you into your higher and best self, whatever religion that is. I really don't care. So yeah, that's it. So I hope you all are having a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.